Hello everybody, I'm here with Monday's maths lesson. This week and next week we're focusing on fractions, decimals and percentages. I'll be back on screen in the lesson tomorrow, but for now we will just get started. So you can see on screen the starter task. Today's starter is all about money. So it says these are the coins commonly used in Britain today. So you've got 3 tasks in the first section. So what is the fewest number of coins you need to make 83p, £1.34 and £5.27. Notice the keyword fewest. The second challenge is what is the smallest amount that needs more than 5 coins? Okay, read the question again if you need to, otherwise pause the video and write your answer down. Okay, I'm now going to reveal the answer, so if you haven't finished, make sure you pause. Here are the answers, so read them yourself and mark them yourself. The last challenge, the way to solve it was to pick the 6 lowest value coins, because 6 is the next number above 5, isn't it? And then add them together. Let me know how you got on. So today we're just going to focus on decimals, really. I'm focusing on multiplying and dividing by multiples of 10. To start off with, can you just write down anything that you know about 1, 1/10 and 1/100th? Do you know what the decimal equivalents are? Do you know what the fraction equivalents are? Can you draw a picture? Anything at all? Just have a quick think. If you don't know anything, don't panic. Okay, I'm going to now show you some of my ideas. So on the top row, I've shown that 1 just looks like 1. It's 1 whole. 1/10, the decimal is 0.1. And the decimal of 100th is 0.01. Did you get those? You need to know these facts, so if you're not sure, I would write them down. On the next row, I've put the fractions. So 1 could be represented by many different fractions, but I've just chosen that 10/10 is a whole, 100/100ths is a whole. Okay? 1/10 looks like this, 1/10. It means that you have divided something into 10 equal parts. Okay, 10/100ths is also the same as 1/10. Okay, 100th looks like this as a fraction, 1/100. It means that you have divided a whole into 100 equal parts. Now, I also like to think about money, so I always think about 1 represents £1, that's a pound. 1/10 represents 10p, because that goes there, and 100th represents 1p. That helps me. It might not help you. People understand things in different ways in maths, and that's fine. I also looked at meters and centimeters as well. I also thought about place value. So I noticed that it goes hundreds, tens, ones, decimal point, tenths, hundredths. Okay? And I also looked at this. This is a way to visualize. So I wonder if you can think about why I chose these images. Because normally in school we'd say, oh, that's 100 square, that's a 10 stick, and that's a 1. Can you think about why I've changed it for today? What's my reasoning? Okay, my reasoning is that 1 whole is made up of 10 tenths. So if I put 10 of these together, I'd get 1 whole. It's the same as putting 10 10p's together. I'd get £1. And the 100th, so if I put 100 hundredths together, then I get a whole. The same as putting 100 1p's together. So that's why I chose this visual. I wonder if it makes sense to you. Now, on screen, just a reminder of the fractions and decimals. So 1/10 looks like this. 100th looks like this. And you just need to know those facts. So maybe you could practice just remembering each day, oh, can I write down the decimal for 1/10? Can I write down the fraction? Now, which of these three values is worth the most? And which is worth the least? Can you fill in this statement? Write it down on your piece of paper. Okay, remember the signs. So the largest value always faces the gap. Okay, it's like balancing scales, but the scales will tip onto the highest value. Okay, I'm now going to show you the answer. So 1 has the highest value, that's a whole. 1/10 is in the middle, and 1/100th is the smallest value. It's important that you remember that. Lots of people say that 1/100th is worth more than 1/10 because they say, oh, 100 is more than 10. But it's different with fractions. Remember that the denominator tells us how many parts the whole has been split into, has been divided into. So if you divide a cake into 10 equal parts, and you divide a cake into 100 equal parts, you would definitely get a lot more if you were lucky enough to be part of the 1/10 cake. Okay, 100 you're sharing with a lot more people. So just remember that. And look at the decimal. So this 1 has a greater value than this digit 1. Let's move on. You're going to have a go at some things now. Right, just to practice, I'm going to say a fraction, and I would like you to write it down using the correct place value. So my heading doesn't actually make sense. So I'm going to say a fraction, you're going to write it down. Put the digits in the right place value columns. First question. 7/10. Write that down as a decimal. The next one, 7/100. So I said 7/10 and 7/100. Here it is. So this is 7/10. So no ones, 0.7. The 7 is in the 10th column. 7/100 is 0.07. Okay, it's really important that you put your placeholder here. You need to put a 0. If there are no tenths, you need to put 0. Okay, let's try again. 9/100. Next, 9/10. There we go. So 9/100 is 0.09. 9/10 is 0.9. Next, 5/100. Next question, 5/10. There we go. Wonder if you're spotting the pattern. Next question. Can't see it on the screen, but I'm going to say it and I'll show you afterwards. 7/10. Next question. 70/100. Okay, I wonder if you got these. Now earlier I said that 10/100 is the same as 1/10. So actually these answers are both the same. 7/10 looks like this. 70/100 looks like this. Next one. 80/100. And the next one is 8/10. And again, they're both the same. We're going to look at that in more detail in future lessons. Now I'd like you to write down these problems and to fill them in with the correct symbol. Remember that the gap always faces the higher value. And we've also got our equal symbol which can be used. So just remember what we spoke about earlier. Let's do this one together. 1/10, 1/100th. Which has the largest value? Well, I look at the denominator and I think, right, this one, the whole has been divided into 10 equal parts. Whereas this one, the whole has been divided into 100 equal parts. So my symbol will be this one. Watch my mouse. 1/10 is greater than 1/100th. Okay. If you aren't sure, you could always rewind the video and just have a quick look again about your fraction and decimal equivalents. Off you go. Okay, I'm now going to reveal the answers on screen, so if you've not finished, pause the video. Here we go. Let me know how you got on afterwards. I hope you remembered that the closer the digit is to the decimal point, the larger its value. That's the tenths column. That's the hundredths column. Now the final part for today is just having a quick look at this Cotegno chart. We've used this before in school. You can do lots of different things with this chart, but we're going to use it for one particular purpose today. So we're going to be moving up and down the chart. My first question for you is, how do you get from 5 to 50? What do you multiply 5 by? You multiply by 10. Okay, and if you notice that every time you move up a space, you multiply by 10. 500 multiplied by 10 is 5,000. Okay, what do you divide 5 by to get 0.5? Okay, you divide by 10. That's what we're going to be using. We need that knowledge for today's lesson. Okay, so I've written a statement at the top. 0.04 is 100 times smaller than 4. Okay, and I knew that because every time I move a space, it goes up. So I divide by 10. If I move 2 spaces, look how it's got 2 zeros. That means 100, and it looks like this. 0.04 multiplied by 100 is 4. Okay, so I moved 2 spaces, so that means it's not multiplied by 10, it's 10 squared, which is 100. Here's another example. 700 is 1,000 times bigger than 0.7. So if you look at the chart, I'm just jumping. So I'm going, right, 700, 1 place, 2 places, 3 places. So that looks like 700 divided by 1,000 equals 0.7. Notice how when I move down the chart, I'm dividing. Okay, the answer is smaller. But when I move up the chart, I'm multiplying. Okay, and notice how every time I take a step, it increases or decreases if I'm going up or down. It depends which way I'm going. You have a go at this one. 200 is how many times bigger than 0.2? So first of all, put your finger on 200, then count the number of jumps. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now think about it. 200 divided by what equals 0.2? You did 1, 2, 3 jumps. So you're divided by 10, divided by 10, divided by 10. 3 jumps means there will be 3 zeros. We've looked at this pattern in school before. So 200 divided by 1,000 equals 0.2. Let's have a go at another one. 50 is how many times bigger than 0.5? I'm going to go through it, but if you're happy, pause the video and do it. So 50, put your finger there. Right, jump down. 1, 2 jumps. Okay, 2 jumps means 2 zeros. So hopefully you got 100 times bigger. So 50 divided by 100 is 0.5. Have a go at this one. 0.08 is how many times smaller than 800? Put your finger, so we're multiplying this time. So put your finger on 0.08 and start doing your little jumps. So my mouth is there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, what's that going to look like? Can you write that down? 0.08 multiplied by something equals 800. Okay, 10,000 times smaller. It should say 10,000 times. Notice how we did 4 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got 4 zeros. We're going to look at what this means in future lessons. Another one. 0.9 is how many times smaller than 90? Okay, put your finger on 0.9. Jump up. 1, 2. Okay, so how many times? Should have got 100 times smaller. Okay. Here are some questions on the screen. Now I'd like you to have a go at these. You might just choose a few, but if you really want to push yourself, you're going to go for them all. You're going to use the chart. I also want you to look at how the digits move within each question, because that's going to help you next lesson. So I'll do the first one on each side with you. So first of all, I put my finger on 100. Okay. And then I'm going to jump down to 0.1. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, I've moved 3 places. So what will that be? Well, there'll be 3 zeros, 3 places. So that'll be 100 divided by 1,000 equals 0.1. Okay. Some of them look different though, so sometimes you're going to have to do the moving yourself. So here it's a 600 divided by 1,000. So if it's dividing by 1,000, how many places are you going to move? What tells you? Well, one clue, this pattern that we worked out in school, is that if you look at the zeros, 1, 2, 3, that tells you how many places. Okay. These ones at the bottom, you have to do the inverse. Let's try this one. 3 multiplied by something equals 3,000. Oh, I know that straight away. I'll just check on the chart though. So 3, 1, 2, 3. So you don't always need to use the chart. If you know the fact, write it down. That's fabulous. But if you want to use the chart, that's also great. Pause the video and have a go. I'm now going to reveal the answers on screen. Wonder how you did. Don't worry if you're still finding it a little bit confusing. We're going to look at how, like what it means. And we're going to look at also how the digits move places. That's really important. What if you can fill, this is the last part for today. Can you fill these ones in? So in these ones you have to put the operation and the multiple of 10. I'm going to reveal the answer, so if you're having a go, pause. There we go. That was kind of an introduction lesson today. Well done for taking part. I look forward to seeing you back tomorrow where we'll explore it in a bit more detail. Well done.